Hey guys, so I want to welcome everybody to tonight's networking series we got going on with Echo Means Business. We have a bunch of people here that they're running a part-time work on a full-time business. So we want to talk to them about some great stuff tonight going on, what they do, how they run their business, and what all they do. So what we're going to do is, you know, this is one of the Echo Means Business every 2 week bi-weekly series that's going on, and it's a good networking series between other pros. We're going to learn about what they do and all their different expertise that they have. So what we're going to do is I'm going to introduce myself. I'm Scott from Landscapes by Acme. Sorry. And we're going to go over to Money Mike G, and we're going to ask, what do you do, and what do you run? Go ahead.
Hello guys. Money Making Mike G is like a little slick. Michael A. Gougolis, full name, government name. So X marks my mowers, because when I originally started off, I had a 32-inch belt drive X Mark Metro that I still have to this day, and I love that mower. And the dealership carries X Mark, and then all my stick equipment, I run the SRM 225 for as long as I can remember. It's the thing that I learned string trim on, and I got a 266 Echo and a 2620 curve shaft stick edger that I love, and then Red Max 7500 and 8500 blowers, and the F-150 pulling it.
Nice piece of equipment. So, Aaron, what are you running? And tell me a little bit about yourself.
So my business is Mow It Mulch It. My full name, Aaron Reese. It's on the screen there for you guys. I'm actually a firefighter paramedic by day, and so I run my business on my days off. As far as mower, I have a stand-up John Deere 648R. My first mower I bought, zero turn. I'm running as long as I can at this point. I actually started off aerating before I started mowing, so I kind of went the opposite way a lot of people do. I've got an X Mark push aerator. I run PB8010 backpack, 2620 pass system, which I love. I had a steel one, but I pretty much, that just collects dust now because the Echo one is so much easier, so much more user-friendly. And then SRM 225. I think everybody at some point has had an SRM 225.
Oh yeah, everybody does.
They have issues, but every once in a while, but they're so easy to fix and so easy to run and use, especially as like a backup, which is great. And then I have a bed redefiner, which is a standalone unit. I've got a few other things, some hedge trimmers. But I run a little bit of everything, but majority of it is Echo. And then as far as a truck, I have a 2019 GMC Sierra, which I just got about a year ago. And it's probably going to be my forever truck as far as running it till the wheels fall off. So.
Nice. So, Ma and Pa, what do you guys do? I mean, I know you guys have a different variety of stuff. You guys are down in Texas, so tell me a little bit about your guys' selves and what you guys do.
Well, we also are mainly in the residential lawn care. We run a Ferris zero turn as well as a Husqvarna. The main thing we use the Husqvarna for is, in our area, we live in a swampy area, so it's always wet. The Husqvarna that we have has where I have a button I can press, and it turns my back wheels pretty much four-wheel drive.
Locking differential.
So it's easier to get out of the ground.
In the event that it does get stuck, we can literally pick it up, move it over. You ain't gonna do that with no zero turn.
All our hand tools is pretty much all Echo. We run also the SRM 225s. But we also have the 3020T as well, which that's the one that he loves. It's a little too heavy for me. And then we have all our Echo hedge trimmers as well.
We also run Edge Pros, if y'all know what that is. I love an Edge Pro. They make them for the 225s. Literally, you just flip it sideways. You ain't got to go back to the truck or the trailer to grab an edger. Now, of course, you got to clean something up. You want to use the edger, but that makes things a lot easier.
Especially for maintained edges.
Awesome. So, and our last guest is Chris from Horny's Yard Service. So, tell me a little bit about yourself, Chris, and what's going on.
Okay, well, I started in 06, and I started with a 54-inch Craftsman rider that I ramped into the back of the family Chevy Astro van. had to take the deck off every time, put it in front of the mower behind the front seats. And that's how I started. But then in 08, it was 08, I purchased the Hustler Super Z 66-inch. And I went with that because I knew there'd be some smaller yards I couldn't, but I wanted to maximize, get as much acreage mowed if I had it that I could, just being a solo operator starting out. And so now currently I have still have the 08 Super Z still running on its second engine. I had bought then in 16 a MZ61 Husqvarna that I have now as a backup because in 2019 from my new dealer that I just picked up 2 years ago, because my Hustler dealer went out of business, I run a 61-inch Skag V-Ride 2. And so switching to standard, my son uses the Super Z now, and I'm not going back to sit down. I love the standard. I mean, doing big acreage, we do a lot of 1 to 5 acres, and my back feels so much better at the end of 5-6 hours of actual cutting. I know we don't cut 8 hours, but I just feel so much better at the end of the day and getting up the next morning, not being, bouncing around in the seat. And then I run now I run Red Max. I have a 260 trimmer, and then I have the combi unit that I bought last year with the hedge trimmer and the edger and the another weed whip. And then I have an SRM 225 that I picked up kind of a year or so ago when I was in between, trimmers. I didn't know what I wanted to buy at the moment. I didn't want to spend the top dollar, so I got that at Home Depot. And then so what else? Oh, and I run Red Max 8500s that I picked up 2 years ago. I used to run the smaller Husqvarna 150s, which were, once I moved to 8500, I'm like, I wasted a lot of time moving leaves. And so, and then I have a Dodge 1500, a 2020 Bighorn quad cab, and then I run a dual tandem axle 18-foot utility trailer, open utility trailer. So
nice. So that's awesome. So one of my biggest questions is, this type of business is out there for everybody. Everybody can be a part-timer or they can be a full-timer like me. But Aaron, he's a firefighter. You all got other jobs, correct? So tell me, what about your other job, and how much time do you have per day to devote to your lawn care or landscaping or whatever you guys are doing per day? Go ahead. We'll start with Aaron since he's a firefighter. We'll let you go first, Aaron.
So again, it is just to let anybody know watching this that's thinking about getting into this, you may go part-time, but part-time is not part-time. You can make it as part-time as you want, but it becomes full-time very quickly. So the biggest thing is with my job, as a firefighter, we're there 24 hours, and everybody is always like, well, how does that work? when do you sleep? When do you do this? I mean, it's very interesting. It seems common sense to me, but a lot of people just don't understand it. So, I mean, if we're not on a run, we're not training. Literally, I'm usually either working out or, we do take naps occasionally just to make sure we're, on top of things and ready to go. But I'm also doing, just like Mike was saying, if you're at work and you've got some downtime, you're going to get some other stuff done. So I do invoicing. Everybody's got a cell phone. So, I mean, pretty much everything I do invoicing wise is now on my phone. So I can be doing that while I'm at the mall. I can be doing it while I'm on duty. So I try and keep, my personal life separate from work. Easier said than done. But if you have time and it's small stuff like sending somebody an invoice at the touch of your phone, why not take advantage of it? So I think you just have to find that balance between your full-time job and your part-time job. And you have to know when to turn it on and when to turn it off. I think that's the biggest thing, especially when you do have a full-time job like any of us. I mean, when Chris is delivering pizzas here, he can't just be looking at his phone, texting an invoice to somebody. Otherwise he's going to get crashed, and, then Domino's is on the hook. So, but yeah, that's the biggest thing I think is just utilizing your time wisely. Time management is key if you're going to have a full-time job and do lawn care part-time.
Correct. I mean, I agree with you on that. I mean, no matter what you guys do, I mean, you guys are still rocking it out like we are. You guys got lots of stuff. You all got families. It's nonstop. You guys are, busy as heck. Mike, so you said before to me that you work for a warehouse. Where do you work? And if you can tell me, and what do you do there?
Sure. I got into distribution right out of high school. We were actually lucky enough. I never had the interest to go to college. Nothing against
Okay.
that. I'm a firm believer that you can have a very successful life in this country without having to go to college. For people that do, 1,000,000% respect, because I've taken some college classes and it takes a lot and invested, and not bragging. I had a 3.8 GPA coming out of there, and I went about 8 years after I'd been out of school. But I currently
Nice.
work for IKEA and one of the distribution centers that services all the stores from Staten Island. I think we actually do Long Island also, all the way through New Jersey, obviously Eastern Pennsylvania, Delaware, and some in Northern Maryland. But I was lucky enough my senior year to have enough credits earned with what I was taking in high school that I only needed to basically take 3 classes, and our high school offered a co-op program. And there was actually distribution centers that were within like 15 minutes away. We would go to high school from 8 to 11 for 3.5 hours. And then they were willing to take our classes to go in there. And it was part of your curriculum. Once you signed up and you were vested and you gave your word that you were going to see this program through, you had to see it through, or they could have held it against you from graduating, even though you had all the credits there. And I got into warehousing, and as long as you're self-motivated, you're organized, and you're pretty decent with numbers, that was the type of job. It's indoors, it's all year round. A lot of them paid pretty well, and it's on the come up. And then from there, I did everything from stocking shelves, learning to drive all the equipment, received, shipped, coordinator type work, admin work, inventory control, and so forth. And now I got to the point where I'm office based, and like Aaron, I'm not on any type of schedule like him, but I am second shift, and I very much prefer to go into work at 2 or 3 in the afternoon, because I'd much rather be out mowing during the day than work during the day, have to leave and mow after work. Everyone's getting home from work. Everyone's got their kids picked up. The kids want to be outside playing in the backyards. There's cars in the driveways. There's more traffic on the street. So it's much more beneficial for me. Once I get into work, and pretty much we don't have an emergency going on, or there aren't vendors in the building servicing something, it's all quiet, you start on the invoicing, you start on taking your notes. What did I get done today? Did I get everything done? Did the rain cut you short, and so forth? And I'm blessed enough to be able to just do that at my own leisure while I'm at work. And I do take quite a bit of that time and opportunity to so you could add another 10 or 15 hours of that time towards business time.
That's awesome. That's awesome that, you're out there doing, probably what, 8 hours a day, pretty much. Is that what you're doing, Mike?
On the mowing?
Yeah.
It's 5 to 6 hours. It's 5 to 6 hours before work, because I don't have to be in at 3 or 4 in the afternoon. So I couldn't be out there to do 8 hours. That would put me at like the 6 o'clock mark being out there. But it's, like 7:30 ish being out the door, which means sometimes I'm up at 6:15, 6:30, and 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, you're getting done. The night prior, you're getting home. You don't just walk in the door, take a shower, and go, oh, it's time for bed. No. You're Netflixing until 1 a.m., 2 a.m., or you're watching the weather, or you're going through what you have to get done the next day, and you're kind of tired, and you're like, oh, that job didn't go as planned as I wanted to. So sometimes you finally close your eyes at 2 or 3 in the morning, and that alarm's going off, and you got to get up and go get it in.
Right. Oh yeah. I mean, I think that goes for all of us. I mean, even me as a business owner, I got a family, I got full-time work, with the lawn care, and I do other stuff, another business that I help run. It's a busy schedule. You always have a busy schedule, no matter if you're by yourself or run a crew or whatever, you're still busy. Chris, you deliver pizza still, correct?
Yes, I still do. I don't do it 12 months of the year, but I did it first. So I started business in 2007 as a solo operator. So what for me, I had a shipping receiving job, but like a lot of people that I know are in the business currently, in 03, I was indefinitely laid off. I was working for a real-time simulation and computing company. And when there's no automotive or aerospace contracts, things get lean. And so I was expendable and other people in my department had to cover, you know how that works. And so I was still doing pizza on the weekend. So, well, I bounced around. I tried some other jobs, but with the economy bad, you'd get into another job and 6 months later, they would just be a little behind where you were in your other job. And then they're laying you off. And then I said, well, I'll go to full-time pizza. And then I decided, you know what? My dad, you know, taught me a lot. He was a heating and cooling technician and always did stuff himself. So I'm like, you know what? I like working outdoors with my hands. I'll try my own business. And then so I blended the two. But at first I was working like nights, like so from 5 to midnight or whatever, and in that time frame, and then trying to find mowing work in the day. So like Mike said, you know, you're just squeezing in the sleep where you can. And so currently now I still work January through April doing full-time pizza, like 40, 45 hours a week, which is a little slower than April through December when you're in your mowing thing. But still, if we get a bad winter and I get a lot of snow, I might have to deliver, come home at midnight, 1 o'clock, go immediately to snow for 6 or 7 hours, get a 2-hour nap or 3-hour nap before working at 5 again. And, you know, you want the money. Now your body says, if you do, like when we had the polar vortex that winter, 100 inches up here, that was brutal because there was stretches where I'd go like, 72 hours with a couple hours sleep, which probably isn't ideal when you're driving motor vehicles, but you're there for the family, you got to fight. So you push yourself, and, hindsight, you're like, wow, that was probably not the smartest move, but, a little extra coffee, another energy drink, and you're going again, get another nap. But yeah, so, now, and, I'm hoping here the way my business is growing real well the last 5 years. And now I have my 2 oldest sons working with me. It was my oldest son. And then 4 years ago, I added my second son as we add more business, particularly in the mowing end. And now I'm hoping that in the next few years, I can phase out pizza, or pizza isn't a need, like doing that pizza in the slow months. It's kind of like something that, which we all would like to say extra money, that never happens. You're like, oh, I'd work this second job for extra money. I always found myself catching. It's like, no, if I didn't have that, the bills would be behind. You'd be like, scraping. But yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's a job. It's extra income too. I've done it before. When I first started my business, I kind of worked part-time for other people, and, big companies, I actually built bikes for them and would go during the winter and build bikes just to, have some extra work during the winter. And when you're not busy during the winter, you got to have something extra sometimes. So, it's a good thing to have, extra work. Ma and Pa, I know you guys do stuff for the state, correct? And what kind of stuff do you guys do as your full-time work also?
Currently, I'm actually, as you can see, a full-time mom as well as a full-time college student.
That's gotta be busy.
Yeah, that's a lot to juggle.
Just a little. When Paul's at work with the IT, when I'm not doing my college work, I actually try my best to knock out our yards and stuff during the day. That way, later that afternoon, we actually can spend family time together.
Can all relax at one time
instead of rushing. During the summer, we have my oldest little boss, as she likes to be called. She's actually one of my biggest workers side by side with me during the summer. And because of her, I normally don't have to have very many employees, if any, with me.
That's good. It's nice to have family help you out when they can. So, Paul, you work for the state in IT, correct? So you help out, after work, or do you help out just mainly during the weekends?
So thankfully, my job is really flexible. I have a great leeway on what I can do because a lot of the time I can remote into somebody's computer, see what's going on from right here in my living room, while at the same time I'm talking to somebody else about lawn care. IT is one of the greatest things like that because you can help somebody remotely. They call you on the phone. You can literally be on the phone talking them through steps that need to get done while I'm typing somebody else that's asking about lawn care. Thankfully, it's one of the most flexible things. I can play secretary while she's actually out doing the actual work. In the summertime, them two combined heads, they'll climb out of bed while it's still nice and cool outside. By 12 o'clock before it gets dark, they'll be rolling in. On big projects, that's whenever I actually lay hands on and help out.
Oh,
Nice.
pretty puppy,
Nice.
Mike.
That's awesome that you guys are out there.
When it comes to paperwork, when it comes to clients talking to us, stuff like that, when people want to get service, if they're getting emailed back, that's going to be me. I'm the person that handles the website. I handle all of that because I'm a geek. I mean, that's what I do. But it's worked out well. I don't know about y'all. Instead of paying somebody else for SEO, I was able to do all that on Google years ago. And so online, we look like this massive company when it's literally just family owned, but it gives that appearance of we got our stuff together.
Awesome. So one of my biggest questions to all of you guys is, I know when I was doing it part-time, and then I kind of wanted to start into the business and kind of get more. Do any of you guys ever want to be just strictly lawn care, landscaping, or do you want to continue as, working where you work now and then, still doing it part-time? Because I mean, it's no matter what you do, it's still full-time work doing part-time, even full-time. You guys all have full plates on your hands. So do you guys ever feel like you're eventually going to just go straight into lawn care nonstop, or you're going to continue on with the way you guys are right now?
I don't getting feedback here. I am not going to probably go full time right off the bat. Obviously, with my job, it's a pension type job. So
Right.
to put in all that time and not walk away with a pension and years of sleepless nights and stuff like that, for me, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But my whole plan is to hopefully build it to the point that, towards the end of my career as a firefighter, I could take a little bit more of a step back. I don't want to necessarily have a huge company. That's just not me. But I think if I can take a step back and delegate a little more, then I can have it, be one of those things where come retirement, I can still stay involved.
Right.
I mean, we have a few guys that retired last year and they moved down to Florida, and then when irrigation startup season comes, they come right back here for a few weeks. They stay with family. They hit all their startups. They go right back to Florida. So
Nice.
I think in my position, it's not that I don't want to go full time, and I would never encourage somebody, hey, if you are in a position to go full time and you think it's something you would enjoy more, do it because you love it. Don't just do it because you're making all kinds of money now all of a sudden. If you're making great money and you're like, man, I'm making a killing now. If I would go full time, I'll make even more money. Don't do that. Do it because you love it. Because if you're going to do it for years, you don't. And in the lawn care business, I mean, it wears on all of us. You're out there, you're weed eating. If you're on a sit down mower, your back after a while starts getting tired. So you're taking that physical toll on your body. So you remember, you're not just doing it for the money. You need to do it because you enjoy it and because you physically can do it.
Correct. I mean, everybody should do it for, loving what you do. I mean, no matter what you do, like you being a firefighter, if that's what you love to do is to be a firefighter, or in IT or anything, just do it, continue to do it. If you love to do that, then do it, Mike, what about you? Do you feel like you're going to eventually go full time, or are you going to stay right where you're at right now?
I am not going to go full time, and probably never will.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Sure. I make too much money doing what I do at work for the little that I do when I'm there, and that's so terrible to say that out loud. But I love doing that from being younger and getting into it, especially when we're on the shipping side of it. Compared to every other department, it's fast paced, and it was churn and burn, and I'm a little bit high strung. and so forth. So it fit right into that. But I spend so little of my lawn care money on myself. Every penny that comes in that's profited, there's a clear and concise plan to where that money goes to. And I give so much of that credit to my wife, because she's the one that, like, she'll take $1 and stretch it around the block, because it's like, hey, look, this is what we made. This is where we need to be at the end of the month. This is what we're going to do. And I honestly probably, and I love doing it. And it's not like, oh man, I got like 5 more years and I'm out. It's nothing like that. It's just like Aaron said, there were times I'd run that Metro so long before work during the day with the pistol grip, you couldn't even pick up a soda after you were done mowing about 8 or 9 lawns with it. So it does jack you up a little bit. And once certain bills are down and the mortgage on the house with what's left to be paid off is at a certain point, man, that equipment's getting sold, and I'm probably going to keep that Metro to mow my house. And I'll look back at with all the memories and the friends that I've made doing it, dude. And that's what it'll be, for me, that's our plan with it. Every single penny from it goes for something. So little of it is actually spent on us. It is spent on us, but in different ways. We got a clear, concise plan on where every penny of it goes.
That is so awesome, Mike. I'm glad that you're doing that. I'm glad that, a lot of people don't realize that, there is ways to make money out here. I mean, you can make money both ways. You can work full time somewhere, run a landscape company part-time, and still make money to survive, to save for the future, to pay bills down, whatever it takes to get to that point. And, I'm proud of all you guys. You guys are doing an awesome job out there. I watch you guys all the time. It's amazing to watch all you guys out there. Chris, I know you were talking to, you eventually want to go, full time.
Oh, yeah.
You and your sons are in it, and you're in there for the long haul, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So,
lawn business is, like how some people go to college and they have a passion to be something. Well, and mine came later in life, but I just want to build not a huge business, but a successful business for me and my, family, my 2 boys. Right. And yeah, I want it to become full time. And like I said earlier, I do enjoy the pizza because I've done it so long and I'm a social guy. And part of what I love about the lawn business is meeting customers and talking with them and just that social aspect. I live for that, as well as, working hard, getting out there, sweating, doing physical labor because you feel good, breathing the fresh air. Right. But, with the pizza, I love meeting people and, hey, how you doing? Bringing a pizza smile. Hey, hi, your kids are great, whatever, guessing their ages, having fun. But I want this business to keep growing like it has and be eventually full-time. And that's something that, I'll probably always be in it. I'll probably want to be in it more than I physically can at a certain age.
Right.
I'll be like,
well, you're not that old, Chris. Come on.
No, I mean, I got another 40 years. I'm only turning 53. So, I want to be able to say, I'm a guy who loves to challenge himself. So I would love to be on the standard mower when I'm like 90. Now, who knows?
That's awesome.
Maybe I'll need an umbrella, the umbrella system, because the heat will get to me a little more, but
they'll probably figure something out by then.
They'll figure something out, and there'll be more probably, be partially bionic or something. Who knows?
Right.
Prosthetics that, keep me going. But, I just love it. And as much as the work, I love the people because, in this, I went to my first GIE in 2019 and was bummed out that there wasn't one last year. But just seeing the big picture, you're in your own little community and you don't really talk to other, people doing the business because you're the competition. So, how dare you talk to them or whatever. And then, you're kind of like, wow, there's a big, I started getting on YouTube more and actually, searching out the lawn and landscape, come across Brian's Lawn Maintenance 2 years ago. And I'm just like, wow, this is a big thing. And the GIE really opened my eyes. It's like, I always thought of myself as some people, man, they're looking down at me because I'm the guy who mows lawns and I'm not the doctor or the professional. But you know what? We can, you can run a real successful, legitimate business that's making good money and, making people happy if it's cleaning their lawns. I love seeing the reaction and the words when you take a house that's been neglected for a couple of years and they're like, can you help me? And you fix it all up. And they're just like, their eyes get big and they're like, this is my yard. You
Right.
know, they're just
Oh,
like,
yeah.
wow, you didn't add any plants, you didn't, whatever, you just, fixed up what was there. It's like, I feel like I just got a new yard. It's been here all this time.
Oh yeah.
But
I
yeah,
mean, it's amazing to see what you can do, and it only takes a little bit of work to, make a house look 100 times better. And a lot of people don't realize that. And and our business is, a big business out there. I mean, nobody should look down to us, and I don't feel like anybody looks down to me for, as I do stuff for doctors, lawyers, and they're amazed on what us landscapers can do in the industry, and be able to just change something over. They might be able to do a heart transplant or whatever, but they can't plant a plant, and that's just
Scotty, someone's got to dig the holes, baby.
That's right.
We
that's
all
right.
can't be horse surgeons. Someone's got to be out there with the shovel, digging
That's
the
right.
holes and running those mowers.
Well,
Not to cut you off.
This pandemic that we are still going through, I mean, that just showed they're not looking down, they're looking to.
Right.
I mean, everybody has been looking at their yard for the last 12 months thinking, man, I didn't realize my yard really looked that bad.
Right.
Or, yeah, I mean, Lowe's, I used to work at Lowe's before I got hired at the fire department, and they were doing, Black Friday sales every single day of the month for almost a full year. I mean, people were doing home projects, people were investing in their yard. So they're looking to people, not down at people at this point.
No. I mean, I think, since the pandemic, I think all our businesses have benefited tenfold, because that homeowner's at home, especially last year when that homeowner was at home. I mean, they were looking out at everything. They weren't stopping services in our area. They were looking at stuff and saying, well, I need this done. I don't know why I waited so long to get this. You could have been telling them for years that, hey, you need this tree trimmed, but now they're all like, go ahead and do that tree because it needs to be done. I can't stand looking at that tree, so I think it's benefited all of us. So, it's awesome that how this has all worked out. Ma, Pa, do you guys feel like you're going to go full time? I know you're saying that you're a college student full time. So you're planning on going into what?
Currently, I'm getting my bachelor's of sociology. I'm actually looking to get with the state, work for Child Protective Services, CPS agent. Once I start working for the state, we'll still have the lawn care as pretty much a part-time job, but it's going to be more for our two girls.
We want some to pass on to the kids. That way they're not making $7.25 at McDonald's when they turn 16. I could toss them the keys. They can go out and get it done. Give me 10%. You keep the rest of it.
Right.
Set up the next generation so they ain't got to flip burgers.
It gives them a work ethic, especially since our 13-year-old already works with me during the summer. On flower bed jobs, we actually bring our 7-year-old with us as well, and the customers love it when she's out there picking the weeds and working side by side with us.
And, I just got to brag. I guarantee my 13-year-old can back up a trailer better than anybody's employee that's watching. I'll put money on it.
Love to see it. Love to see it.
So I got to brag, kid.
You're going to lose that money.
But need to post that on Instagram for backing it up. Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. So how stressful is this running, the business and, working full time? Is it very stressful for you guys and your families, or is it, like Aaron said, you got to have your good work-life balance, and I think all of us have that, you come home, you spend time with your family, but is it still as stressful as, running, a normal business? What do you guys think?
I'll say for myself, it's not as much now. It was in the first, several years. I think for me, the biggest thing is that transition. Cause I, if there's snow, I do it, but you get in a, and it also shifts your hours. Cause I'm working like a 5 to 1. And then also for me, it's like, how quickly is this, how much business I'm going to get in the spring? When's mowing going to start? So it's kind of like cutting off the other business and giving them because I like to, I mean, everybody like give a couple weeks. So you're not just like,
Right.
oh, bye, I got to go tomorrow back to my other job. So I find the only real hard thing is getting yourself transitioned back into, now you're going mowing and, you know, the yard maintenance, which I focus on, mulch and, you know, not really the landscaping end, so to speak, but, you know, it's making that switch, and then also switching your sleep too, because, you know, like Mike said with his, you know, even I'll come home from pizza and I know I should be getting to sleep, but you get something to eat, you pop something on, you're just thinking about either the next day or what's going on in your family, and you find yourself looking at the clock and you're like, oh, it's 3:30 in the morning. It's like, what am I doing? I got, you know, whether it's going into pizza or not, or I have, you know, appointments or something. It's like, I got to be up at 7. I'm going to be tired, you know, and it's just switching back and forth. But that's why, I mean, on top of I love the business, that's where I want to be, is where then I can just, you know, 12 months of the year, it's my family and the lawn business. Just have to balance those things.
Nice. Anybody else?
Yeah, I second that. I mean, I think the biggest thing, like with my job, I mean, I do have some flexibility. You know, there's a lot of companies out there say, hey, we're gonna be there to mow every Wednesday. Well, if I'm on duty, that's not gonna happen. So the biggest thing, I think, in anybody that's maybe watching this that does work a shift schedule that kind of alters as far as police officers, firefighters, you know, first of all, be upfront. You know, I talked with Sam in another interview a while back. Be upfront with your customers. Let them know, look, this isn't necessarily a part-time job for me, but, you know, communicate. The communication is the biggest thing. If you ask anybody that calls you to inquire about an estimate for landscaping or mowing, you know, 9 times out of 10, that one complaint they have is the communication. The communication didn't happen with the previous company. You know, communicate to them, hey, I work a shift schedule. I may not be here every Wednesday, but I tell my customers I will either cut the grass on Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. And the reason I tell them that is so that they can enjoy their yard with their family and friends and cook out on the weekend. So before the weekend, I set that expectation that, hey, I will get your yard mowed. Now, the weekends, you know, if I'm not on duty, I try and make sure the weekends is family time. Occasionally, there may be one instance. Like a few weeks ago, I got sick. I had to mow a few yards on Saturday because I couldn't mow it because I was sick during the week. But communicate with your customers, because if you do, they will understand. Now, if you're consistently communicating, hey, I can't do this, I can't do that, I'm not going to do that, then you're not going to become reliable. But communicate to them, set the expectation early. The first time you talk to them, the first time you get them as a customer, and then just roll with the punches, you know? And again, that's more geared towards, I think, anybody, but specifically people that are on a shift schedule. That's be my recommendation. So,
Yeah, communication is key. I mean, in any business, you know, anywhere you work, you know, a good communication is the best thing to have. You know, you got to communicate with everybody you talk to, you know. What about you, Mike? Is it really stressful? I mean, I know you said you're up till almost what, 1, 2 o'clock pretty much, because you got to unwind.
It's stressful, but you know what the craziest thing is, and I'm sure a lot of guys will attest to this. It's so much of that stress we put on ourselves. Like, your mower's not going to break down every week. You're not going to get a flat every week. It's not going to rain every time. And you sit home and you concoct these scenarios about how your day is going to go, how your week's going to go. And then when you're out there and you pick up the phone and you do an Instagram story and you get done what you need to get done for the day. But I couldn't agree with what Aaron said more. Like, if you want your lawn mowed every Wednesday prior to 2 p.m. so it can be fresh for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, I'm not your guy, because work will come first. We're limited time. We got to try to balance it with, but transparency from 101. When I get referred from other people to say, hey, this and this, today I went and gave an estimate early this morning. It's going to be one of the largest mulch jobs I've ever done myself. And, the first thing out of my mouth was like, hey, you care if I come one day and do the clean out and then come back the next day and, edge it all out and so forth. And I know I'm kind of like eating that cost going back and forth every day, but sometimes that's the only way I can be able to take on a job that size. And it'll still be lucrative, not as lucrative as getting a 1 or 2 man crew out there, 3-man crew, and you jam on it for 5 hours and you're done. But you're transparent with them, you communicate with them. And I was lucky enough, being in a leadership role for so many years, like I've had emotional intelligence training, de-escalation training, how to, the last 3 places I worked at, they're a union environment. So, I've supervised, CBA employees for years, and you got to have a certain finesse on how you handle situations and how you talk, and you just translate that over to your business. And for a long time, I used to be like under the impression that the customer's trying to get over on you. They're looking at you like the little 12-year-old kid there with the lawnmower. But a lot of them don't know. Sometimes you just got to walk them through things, and I stopped taking stuff personally and kind of got to the point where, like, you educate your customers, and a lot of them are to the point where they're like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I was asking you to do that for so long. And I understand what you mean by that now. And it makes sense. And that's kind of how we move everyone forward.
Correct. I mean, you gotta be able to educate the customer also. I mean, education is key, on letting them know what's got to be done. A lot of customers don't know, what the perfect height is, when bushes have to be trimmed. And, like you said, Mike, if as long as you tell them ahead of time how it's going to be ran. I mean, I even, I only have 2 guys that work with me, and I'll go out and tell, a customer, they'll expect, that we're going to get a job done in 1 day. And I'll say, hey, this could take 2-3 days. I want to make sure that it's done properly and done the right way for you, and be able to last for you for years. So, you got to let them know and educate them the best way. Chris,
I'm so sorry. Can I interrupt? So I just want to say one thing, because my brother-in-law is sitting here, and he's the one that's like in the exotic car end of things, and that's how I'm blessed enough to go on these rallies. But we were at the shop 2 nights ago putting on that grass flap. And we go, long story short, we're in the middle of conversation, and he goes, Mike, what's this mower run? And I was like, this 36-inch was like $8,500 out the door because it was a leftover they were offering, and it blew his mind. It took him back a second. He goes, what? That's what they cost? And I'm like, bro, that's what this one costs. It's a 36-inch deck. I was like, they got them running 15 grand, 20 grand. And I wouldn't know what, an XR5 Jaguar SUV, fully loaded is going to cost a month on a lease. He'll be able to spit numbers at you up and down, left and right all day long. But just from his point of view, that moment to get educated on what they are. And I was like, dude, everyone thinks like I said, we're these little 12-year-old kids pulling these little like push mowers around. And I said, dude, just my Metro, that's almost 20 years old, to buy that belt drive now that they still make is going to be $3,500.
Right. I mean, every piece of equipment we own, even you guys own some really big equipment, and it's not cheap. It's not, it's not a $20 mower, and we're not out there, busting our butts for, $20. We're out there, because we have equipment. Every one of you guys have the big equipment. You got Echo, you got Still, you got Red Max. It's all expensive pieces of equipment. And, it's not really, it's, you guys are like running a full-time business because you have all the full-time equipment. It's a lot of money involved in what you guys do, and it's out there, and
we're not,
people don't realize it. Yep. It's like Mike said, if you're not the kid down the street that's 12 and you're mowing with like you said, Chris, your dad's equipment, you're out there, you show up with, good equipment, big equipment, and it costs expensive. It's not cheap, so Chris, why did you get into lawn care?
Well, the main reason I got into lawn care is I was trying to figure out how, like I said earlier, the recession time in 2003, I had a decent shipping and receiving job. It had Blue Cross Blue Shield, 2 weeks sick time, 3 weeks vacation. At the time, not like, well, everything's, cost of livings went up, but, like as younger in my late 20s, around 30, $16, $17 an hour with full benefits and vacation time, it was good job. And then I did pizza too on Fridays and Saturdays. So I had a good thing going, and, getting laid off from that indefinitely, which I knew was going to be permanent probably. And it was, and then bouncing around different jobs. I was tired of being at the whim of the business owner and not knowing, is he going to keep me 6 months? What, and then on the unemployment line, which doesn't pay anything, even if you get the top. And I was handy. I'd fix stuff around the house. I, loved mowing, loved being outdoors, loved camping, the whole 9 yards. So I was thinking, what can I do, like business for myself? And I realized, getting into a mowing, landscaping, lawn business is something that you don't need a ton of money to get started in it. You don't need a building, rent, equipment like you do with a pizza store,
Right.
and you can do it gradually. You can pick up your neighbors, you can pick up 3 or 4, and you work it in with what you're doing. And eventually, like I've done more and more, and now working with my sons, just, trying to make a full-time business out of it. But that is kind of a combination, as I was tired of, am I going to stay employed with this person and being at their mercy and, wanting to, I knew that, from the way the person I was, what my dad instilled in me, if I worked hard and gave 100% or 110% and was honest with customers, like we talked about communication, and was, and did the job I said, I wasn't going to be out of work. I wasn't, it was something that I could build. So yeah, that's for me why I got into it. Yeah.
Right. So here's a question to all of you guys. Is it cheaper to be part-time lawn care business, or is it about the same? Anybody? Go for it, Mom.
I would actually have to say it's about the same depending on where you're at. You can make it more intense to where you have more on your plate, or you can make it to where it's just enough for you to maintain it.
The more you have, the more hands-on you need. So if you can keep it light, you can get it done with 3 people.
Yeah, it's whatever you can maintain. Don't ever overstep to the point that you're pulling your hair out because you don't know what you're going to do. Once it gets to that point, you need to start reaching out and actually expanding. Don't, like the old saying goes, don't bite off more than you can chew.
And to go back to the previous question, stay highly organized.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Separate your actual regular full-time job from this, but stay highly organized. We have a board that we actually mark everything on, our customers, when we've hit them last, estimates that are coming in, possible quotes that we need to go out with, and we keep everything highly organized. How much we have inside of on a credit card that we've actually used for the business, and so on. Staying highly organized is super important.
Awesome. Organization is definitely key. I think nowadays with the phones, it's a plus to have phones. I use my phone with Jobber nonstop. I don't know. Mike's probably running invoices when he can. Aaron's running invoices with he can. Is organization a big key for you guys too?
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
You learn
organization
that quick, man.
and efficiency. If you can be more efficient, kind of like Ma said, you only take on so much. At a certain point, you do have to get to that point where you may have to have that extra help. And then at the same time, you're running a larger business, while you're going to have more costs. So as far as, is it cheaper? I would say it's about the same, but you got to remember, companies that are running with 100 employees have a lot more expensive because they have 100 employees. They've got payroll, they've got insurance. And that's the biggest thing, is that a lot of these customers that we deal with, even in the part-time business, they'll look at us and say, oh man, why are you charging so much? Well, because I pay insurance too. It may be just me, but I pay insurance. I pay for licensing every year. I pay for, fuel. I'm paying the same $2.87 a gallon that the full-time guy's paying. We're just paying things on a different scale compared to the larger companies. So I would say it's the same when you put them side by side, if you were to compare them.
Correct. Yeah. I understand how it is. I have employees, and, the costs are more expensive, and, by being solo, do you get any, like a homeowner come up to you and say, you're by yourself, I'd rather have a bigger company do it because I don't think you can handle it? Do you ever get that? No.
They
Mike says
love
no.
they love that they get Mike G on the phone. You know, you're not
Right.
you're not getting an office, you're not getting global or TGI contracting where like you look out and they rutted up your lawn because they've mowed it in the same direction. And every week it's a different kid out there string trimming because they're flopping through employees, and you call and they're like, thank you for calling global. You know, press 1 for this. You got a problem, you pick up the phone, you're going to get me. I'm going to get back to you right away, and we're going to figure out a solution. But just like the guys other said, I'm a sole proprietor. I didn't go LLC because my liability for me, I looked at the numbers. Like my dad was first generation Greek, took the plane over and worked. So I knew about money before I knew about anything else. I knew that the fundamentals in business was you need to make more than you spend, and you need to always evaluate, do you need to spend the money? And we like nice things, man. We're designer brand people, and if anyone's got a problem with that, like, you know, everyone's got their own stuff that they want to spend money on. I like spending some money on clothes and sunglasses when the time comes, so I can have the little bit from that budget to show for, you know, what we're going to do without everything else planned. And some of that comes from the full-time money because the landscape money frees that up. But it's the insurance for my equipment right now. If I was to take it to try to sell another $15,000-$20,000 worth of work, my insurance would go up because I'd have to have a higher, pay a higher premium for higher coverage.
Right.
And for me, it wouldn't be beneficial unless I took the next really, really big push, because the business runs so lean, and my overhead, besides like your tax and insurance, is so small that like I'm running so much of it back into my pocket, if that makes sense.
Right. Oh yeah. I think all of us like, you know, our own things. I mean, I love to buy lots of hair gel. So, I mean, there is all that out there, you know.
Me too, man.
Yeah.
Me too.
I think you got shavers going on, but I mean, hey, your sunglasses are always, you know, a big thing. I mean, everybody's got their things that they like, you know, and we all put our money towards whatever we have to, and, you know, but we all have our profits. Do you guys ever get any negativity from other companies? I mean, I know in our area, till about a couple years ago, another company would show up and they would think the worst of you. You know, if they're on a yard and another customer's there, they're gonna say, "Oh, that company ain't. They're not worth it." You know, I would never go with that company. You guys ever get that around your area from other companies?
We are actually just the opposite. So because we've actually been around for 6 years now doing what we're doing, the website's been up and going for 5 years. We are known throughout the community. I mean, everybody knows who we are. Whenever people mention lawn care, instantly on Facebook, boom, 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 they throw our names out because they know us. We actually are at a point where we are able to pick and choose the clients that we get. Whenever people call us, if it's not near one of our current clients, we can't get them all. It's impossible. So I don't mind throwing out that work to somebody that's hungry, somebody that's new, that's starting out. You have insurance. You prove to me that, you know, you actually want to do this. I don't mind throwing that overflow. We've been doing that for 3 years now to people that are just starting out, giving them that extra incentive. Whenever it comes in, hey, bud, I ain't got it. But you know what? I know somebody that does. Contact X people. And I don't mind giving out a person's number. I can't cut all the yards. It's impossible to. But I'm at a place where I can pick and choose what is profitable to me. A lot of people can't, but that's what you try to struggle for.
See, something else a little bit different. In our area, I'm one of the only female lawn that they see on the lawns. So there's a lot of times that we get clients by word of mouth because like, oh my gosh, they're a husband and wife team. Oh, I love them. I wish he would have done that with me.
My husband would have done that with me.
And that's one of the biggest things that's actually gotten us in our area.
That's amazing. That's really amazing. I mean, yeah, it's awesome to see that, you know, women in our industry. It's amazing to see. I mean, years ago when I first started, there wasn't women in the industry, and it's just amazing to have you out there, Ma, and to have tons of women out there doing just as much as a man. I applaud you. I mean, you do such a good job, and thank you for your service of, you know, taking care of the lawns and the landscape for us. Aaron, you have a family. Is it hard running the business and, you know, doing this with the family? I know we all got families, so is it hard for you?
I'm not gonna lie, yeah, it's hard. I think you know, the biggest thing is you have to be realistic. You know, and again, like I had mentioned before, you have to try and set that aside of time. So I try, if I'm not on duty on a weekend, it's family time. Partially because our son has soccer games all weekend. You know, he plays club soccer, so we stay pretty busy as a family. And I think the biggest thing is my wife and I, when we don't have the kids, you know, it's we go out on a date or we try and go have dinner. You have to. It's hard, but it's going to be even harder if you don't try and plan and set time where you say, all right, this is family time. You know, the other day I was actually working on installing something on my trailer, and I had just gotten back from mowing some lawns, and our daughter's out there, you know, whizzing around. We're trying to figure out if it's called a rip stick. It's like a skateboard and it wiggles and stuff. So I went out there and, you know, I played with them. I tried to do it and I busted it real hard. But, you know, if you're doing something and you're with family, I mean, like Mom and Pa said, I mean, family means a lot to me. You know, in the fire service, that's my family away from home. You know, I'm there a third of every year. Which when you think about it, it's like, man, that's a lot of time. So I think, you know, it's not hard. It's going to be difficult, but you have to learn how to balance it. And I will say, you know, last year and the year before, I was terrible, you know, but I'm getting better about figuring out, okay, hey, you know what? It's time to work on my landscaping today. It's time to, you know, my wife needs this project done. Okay. I need to get it done because I've been procrastinating. So I'm going to get it done. But again, when you need to do that, you need to balance and figure out, you know what, hey, I got 10 lawns. Instead of doing all 10 lawns on 2 separate days, I'm going to bust it and knock out all 10 lawns today. That frees up this day to either get stuff done at home or, you know what, I get a large mulch job. I can do the mulch job on that day. So, you know, be realistic and time management, and it will be much easier. It's not going to be effortless. You're going to have to put in some work, especially like this says, it's part-time, but it's full-time too. So.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we all refer work. I know I refer work. Mike and Chris, do you guys refer any work to anybody else? I mean, is there other companies that you would, you know, give somebody else work to?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I refer, like, I don't do any like tree work other than, you know, some small stuff you can handle with a, you know, out in the middle of a yard, but you know, not like no 30, 40, 50 footers, because, you know, if it's way out in the property, but if it's anywhere near where it possibly could hit structures, you know, I'm like, you know, obviously liability wise, you're just staying away from that. So tree, and then landscaping. I mean, like I think I mentioned earlier, me and my sons, we focus on the mowing, the mulch, the hedge trimming. You know, I basically tell people, what do you do? Well, we're not really landscaping. We're the yard handyman. You know, I don't even do aeration. But, you know, so doing the stuff the homeowner would do, either if he could do or had the time. So, yeah. And so anything like, you know, extensive landscaping, anything you need, you know, I have, you know, a couple of companies that do more of that, you know, have the Bobcats, have the skids, you know, that stuff, and can handle that. I'll do some yard work if it's, you know, something you can tear out with shovels or, you know, a rototiller, and then throw in like a 10 by 10 section of some rolled sod. But other than that, if it's anything extensive, you know, I know, you know, a couple different people in different aspects of landscaping, and pass it to them.
Hey, don't forget me. I'll travel. Believe me, I'll travel anywhere.
Yeah,
I'll travel to Jersey. I mean, I don't mind. I'll go to Texas too. Wherever you guys are, I'm willing to travel for all you guys too. So, you know, keep that in mind. So I don't mind. I might have to stay in your house for a couple of days and just, you know, make sure you guys feed me well.
I like gas. I like gas stuff.
We got more bedrooms than people in the house, bud.
Hey, that's good with me. So Mike, you refer stuff to. You said you had somebody people you refer to.
Yeah, I got the larger guys around me, but it's to kind of touch based on what I was saying back before, it's kind of comical because like your customers that you have for a long time, they see you pull up in my F-150 with my 12-foot trailer with my 2 mowers and hedge trimmers and stick equipment, and you're mowing and you're trimming bushes and this, and they're like, I gave your phone number to someone, they need a tree taken down. And I'm like, well, have you not watched me mow your lawn for like 2 years now? Did I ever like show up with like the rig and chainsaws and everything? So it's kind of like funny and educating them, be like, oh, I really appreciate it. I'm glad you gave out my number, but I've never mentioned I do tree work. I've never brought it up, but it's man, you know me, I'm always shaking hands and kissing babies, dude. I politic with everybody, and if it's we had a guy do tree work for us like 15 years ago, and he still sends me a Christmas card to this day, and I refer him. We haven't spoken in 12 or 13 years. I refer him out to everybody for that. And then I got other local guys really, really close to me for paver work and stuff like that. Anyone needs hardscaping or anything, I was like, I don't touch it. I'm not logistically set up for it. You know, if no matter how much you beg me to take it on 3 or 4 days into it, you're going to hate my guts, and you're going to be like, why is this guy still in my house? I wanted a 10 by 10 patio, because I'm going to be out there with my little 5 cubic foot wheelbarrow and a little spade shovel trying to dig it all out by hand and lay it. So, you know, sometimes you're just so adamant about giving the work to you, and you got to know to be like, dude, this is outside my realm. I'm not logistically set up for this. I don't have the capacity to take this on. This is who you want to call. They'll treat you right. Tell them I sent you.
Awesome. So I want to thank everybody here for coming. I want to thank everybody that joined on tonight on YouTube. We're having this series every 2 weeks. We're going to have other people. There's going to be different hosts. Go to echomeansbusiness.com. Sign up. If you're not signed up, sign up. Become a member today. Download it to your phone. There's great information from everybody in this that are here today and a whole bunch of other people. You know, you don't want to miss out on anything. So, but I want to thank everybody that's been here today. Thank you guys for coming on.
Great meeting you.
Nice meeting you guys. Remember, next in 2 weeks at 8 p.m. YouTube, Finding and Working with Mentors. See you guys then. Guys, have a good night.
All right,
thank you guys.